Okay. So, like I said, we have something also called RDBMS. And what is RDBMS? RDBMS are what? They are database management system where SQL operates. Please, let's understand the difference between SQL and RDBMS. RDBMS are what? They are database management system. These are the system where SQL operates. Now, someone said earlier, people are talking about Postgres. Someone is saying, okay, I open my slide, she saw SQL Server. Maybe someone else say MySQL, or someone else say Oracle. There's a confusion of, okay, what exactly are we learning? Are we learning Postgres? Are we learning SQL Server? Are we learning MySQL? No. Our focus is to learn what? SQL. Whatever you learn, whether you are using SQL Server, or you are using Postgres, or you are using Oracle database, right? You can transfer your knowledge to any of these RDBMS. Now, RDBMS are what? Oracle database, MySQL, Microsoft SQL Server, PostgreSQL, Access. These are what? They are database. They are database management system or relational database management system. These are systems where SQL can operate. It is the same SQL you are operating within SQL Server. It is the same SQL you will go and operate in PostgreSQL, or the same SQL you will go and operate in Oracle database. Now, the only difference between using a particular system, when you go to a particular database management system, the way you write things there might be a little bit different. Now, let me give you an example, a real life scenario. If you go to American today, right? We Nigerian, if you go to an American today, our English can never be exactly the way the Americans speak their English. They even say there is American English, there is Nigerian English, the pidgin self, that one self they. You understand? If you go to some other country too, the way they speak their English, it's a little bit, different from the way we might be speaking it in Nigeria or in America, or even there is even British English as well, right? But the most important thing is that English is English. You can communicate, people can understand you, right? English is English. The same thing happened with SQL. SQL is SQL. But by the time you take it to another database, right, the way you might write it there might be a little bit different, but the functionality is still the same across all database management systems. Is that clear? Please let me get feedback from us. Is that clear? Do we understand what I just explained now?
Yes.
If you understand, can you react? Can you react?
Yes, sir.
If you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you understand, you can just type here. So let me get feedback. If you understand what I just explained now, can you display full screen? Okay. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. So let me see if I can display full screen slideshow. Something. I think I have an issue with the screen. You won't be able to see the whole this thing. Okay, so like I was explaining, so let's just manage this screen view, please. Let's manage the screen view. So as I was explaining, SQL does not, you might understand that, okay, maybe in your first class, wherever you first learned SQL from, they only introduced you to MySQL. They didn't introduce you to Postgres. They didn't introduce you to Oracle database. They didn't introduce you to Snowflakes. You'll be hearing different names, big names. They are the same thing. It is still the same SQL that you are going to write there. Don't bother yourself with, oh, I want to learn MySQL, I want to learn Postgres. If you know SQL very well, with a particular database management system, you can transfer the knowledge to, it's just like saying that if I say, can you go to UK today or to US today? But you will not feel, I only understand Nigerian English. I don't understand British English. That should not be a limitation for you not to travel to US, because it is still the same English. When you get there, maybe there's a way they are speaking, you will go and learn it there. So the same thing happened with the RDBMS as well. The only thing is just that RDBMS here is owned by different organizations. Microsoft SQL Server is owned by Microsoft. Oracle database owned by Oracle. Postgres SQL, I think, is owned by Oracle as well. Maybe it's some of their, some part of tools that they use for open source, right? So some of these things is just like different company that owns them. Even we also have Google Cloud, right? GCP and Google Cloud that you can write SQL to in your Google Cloud. You understand? So please focus on SQL, not on the management system, not on the system. You understand? So once you know the SQL, you can always transfer the knowledge to the DMS, which is the database management system that you want to use. Okay. Now we have some basic, uses of SQL, which I mentioned. We have data definition, data manipulation language, we have access control, we have data sharing, and we also have some salient rules that guide SQL. We have some salient rules that guide SQL. I will share this slide with you so you can read about the some of these rules, because of time we won't be able to cover much. We won't be able to cover much on this thing. But by the time we start practicing them, we'll see some of these things that I'm talking about. So we have the uses of SQL. We can use SQL to what? To create. We can use SQL to update. We can use SQL to modify. We can use it to delete record and all. Okay, so let's move on. Now, please, let's pay attention to this part. We have SQL commands. So what are SQL commands? Now, we have major 4 types of SQL command. In case you are going for interviews, please, this part of the SQL is very, very important for you, or you are writing any examination that require SQL, please, it's very, very important. We have 4 types of commands. We have the data definition language. We have the data manipulation language. We have the data control language. And we have the transaction control language. Now, let's break each of these commands down. Now, earlier on, I told you that we have 4 major functions of SQL, which are what? To create, to delete, to update, and modify. Now, to be able to achieve those functions, those uses that I mentioned earlier, we have commands that we are going to use to achieve those things. Now, data definition language is under create. Data manipulation language is under to delete, to update, and also we have another language that is not here, another command that is not here, which is what? Data query language, which is DQ, that is DQL. Data query language is not here. It's not here. So data query language is another command that it is very, very essential for us. It is not here. Now, when I say we have data definition language, we have some syntax or clause that we use under them, which are what? Create, alter, drop, truncate, rename. These are the data definition syntax. Why data manipulation syntax are what? Select, insert, update, delete. Now, we have data control language and TCL. Now, let me explain data control language, because in this our class, we will not be using data control language. Even the TCL, we will not be using it. We will only focus on the data definition language and data manipulation language. And it is even, I can tell you that as a data analyst, in whichever company you want to work with, you might not even use DCL at all in the entire time you will spend in an organization. It is possible, but it is very, very important for you to know them. Please don't say, because I'm a data analyst, I don't need to know DCL, or because I'm a data analyst, I don't need to know TCL. No, you don't have to restrict your knowledge to what you need alone, because you might decide to become a database administrator tomorrow. So you need this knowledge of DCL and TCL. Now, what is DCL? DCL is what? Data control language. Now, we have 2 syntax under it, which is what? Grant and revoke. So what is grant? What is revoke? Now, grant means what? I want to give you an access to a database. When we create a database, I can decide that these are the people that I want to give access to a database. because you can't just give anybody access to a database. You can give access to, maybe, let's say I have an intern in my company now, right? And the intern does not know some certain things, especially with the drop statement. Maybe an intern, you just give an intern access, you do not even give him a restriction to what he can do, and the intern just drop a database. I hope you understand what a drop a database for people that that are not SQL before. You use a drop statement on a production database, and you did not give any restriction, you did not give anything to the to any kind of form of restriction to whoever is operating. Now, an intern that you just hired, he was trying to play along to know what is happening in your database, and the thing, you just feel like, okay, I was doing a class one time like that, and they said that we can use drop to do something. Okay, let me come and test it on this production server. Now the person now say drop database, pim, you drop the company database. And in a database, there is nothing like what? Control Z. So what does that mean? That the person have lost the entire organization what? Database. He has lost the entire organization data. That is what it simply means. So in order to avoid such scenario or such case, so we use the grant command or the grant statement to give access to users. I can decide to give you only read access. Read access means that you cannot delete, you cannot drop, you cannot do anything. The only thing that you just want to come and do is what? To come and read. We just see. You can only see. You cannot do anything else. You cannot modify. You cannot do anything. And I can give someone else, maybe someone that has 15 years experience. I can give, this person, this one know what he's doing. And if anything happen, you will be responsible for it. You understand? So I can give another person what? A write access. Write access means that the person can write, he can add, he can delete, before he can delete anything, he knows what to do, right? So we can use the DCL command to grant access for people, and you tell them what kind of access you want to give them. Now, revoke is what? After you grant access, you are okay, maybe the person has left the organization, and you don't want the person to be operating on your database anymore because the person is no longer in your organization, you can revoke an access from such person as well, right? So that is DCL. TCL is what? Transaction control language. Now, I told you earlier that there is nothing like Control Z in SQL. You cannot say, oh, I made a mistake, I want to go back. There's nothing like that. Or maybe I drop a database, I want to revert back. If you do not back up the database is gone unless you back up. If you do not back it up, it's gone forever. So, but you can use what? TCL to recover whatever you have done. So when you start an operation or a transaction, we call it transaction, you use the TCL to control what you have done. So you can use the commit to save your work, and you can use the rollback to do Control Z. So now there's no Control Z, but with the TCL language, you can do Control Z. But you have to what? You have to first start your transaction, right? Your transaction must start with these two statements, commit and rollback. If not, anything that you have done is also what? You cannot go back to your previous task. You cannot do something like that. So, but like I said, our focus on this class is on DDL and DML. So we will not talk much on the DCL and the TCL. Now, there's one language that I did not mention, which is data query language. And I also want to tell me, from some of us that have an experience, which syntax belongs to the data query language. So which syntax belongs to the data query language? Which syntax belongs to the data query language? Someone say TCL is what? Transaction control language. I said that earlier. So DQL, who can tell me the syntax that belongs to the DQL? So can anybody tell us the syntax that belong to the DQL? For DDL, we have create, we have rename, drop, truncate. So for DQL, so select. Okay, someone says select. Any other person, any other control opinion? Select, okay. Any other person from some of us that knows where, okay, from, okay. Okay, so the only language that fall under the DKL is the select statement. So select is the only language that is only syntax rather that falls under the DKL. So whenever you say DQL is what? Query language. You want to query something out. So whenever you say select, you are querying. Forget about from, where, or whatever syntax or whatever clause that falls, fall under. Select is used for data query language. Yeah, select is used for data query language. So you can also, it's even in the slide itself. It seems that some of you are not following itself. It's even in this slide. So data query language, select is one of the so I hope we understand the command now. Data manipulation language is used for what? Is used to update, to try. Whenever you are doing data transformation, you use data manipulation. You want to update, you want to delete a record, you use what? You use your data manipulation. And your data manipulation syntax are what? Select, insert, update, delete, and and some other that we'll still talk about later on. So that is that about data, some of those commands. Now, let's do some practical aspects so that it will not just be talking, 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 talking. So let's see how we can create a database, how to do it practical, not just about talking. So before I proceed to that, I think someone hand is up. So Oreoluwa, let me allow you to speak. If you have any question, I'll just entertain two questions. Any question? Oreoluwa, your mic is on, so you can speak. Okay, any question from anyone? General, any question from anyone? If you have question, raise your hand, or you can drop it in the comment section before we proceed. Any question? Any question? No question, right? Oh, wow. So that means that we understand. So if you understand everything we have been discussing since morning, can we thumb up? Can we thumb up? If you understand everything, so let's thumb up. Okay, someone hand is up. Okay, I think the person want to thumb up then. Okay, that's fine. Okay, let's proceed then. Let's proceed then. Okay, now we are moving to creating database, right? We want to start creating our database. What is a database? I think that's the first question that someone will have. What is a database? Now, a database is a collection of related data or information that is stored, modified, and transmitted. That's a database. Now, when you hear database, whatever you are storing in a database, it must be what? It must be related. Hello? It must be what? It must be related. If you want to have a database management system, the information you are storing in that database, they must be related. You cannot store information that are not related in a database. You don't do that. You understand? So the data you are storing in a database, they must be somehow related. They must be what? They must be somehow related. So so that is that. So let's see. We'll move to SQL Server now. So I'm going to connect. So let me connect to my SQL Server. Okay, so let's quickly do an introduction to the SQL Server Management Studio. So now I mentioned some some RDBMS, right? And SQL Server is one of the RDBMS. I mentioned earlier that we have Postgres SQL, we have Oracle database, we have MySQL, we have some other too. We also have some that they are not SQL, they call them NoSQL. Like what? We have MongoDB. MongoDB is a NoSQL database. We have MariaDB. They are what? They are NoSQL database. They are also like management system, but what they are saying is that they don't just use only SQL. They can use some other things like to query their data there. But in a database, in a relational database management system, the only thing that we use is what is SQL. It's purely SQL. So now, if you are using Postgres at the moment, if maybe you are unable to successfully install SQL Server, it is fine. You can still do whatever we are doing here. You can do it there. Don't forget that I said earlier that SQL is the language. It's just like your English. You can take your English to any country to go and speak your English there, right? SQL2 is like an official language in a relational database management system. You can come here, write your SQL there. I can go to another platform to go and write SQL there as well. You understand? So now, on your SQL server, I will just do some little introduction here. If you want to write a query, you click on new query. If you want to start writing anything, you click on new query. This will open a wizard for you. You can see. Now you can see under your file, you can save. Maybe when you write your query, you can save. You can you can click on file and save your file, right? So when you save your query, you can also open a query. So let me try and open one query. So let's see. I'm going to open. So let's see. I will go to my file, my folder. Let's try to open one query. I think I have one query here. Datakliq, Cohort 5, SQL section. I have script. Do you have any query here? Let me see if I have. Okay, I'm not sure I have. Okay, so let me check. Maybe I do not have here. Let me check. I just want to show you how you can open a query if you have saved it before. So let me check scripts. Okay, so let me just open this one. So this is like a query, a script that I've saved earlier. So you can see this is like a script that I've saved earlier. So you can, when you write a script or you write a script, you can save that script maybe for future reference, for future purpose. You can save it, and you can also remove it. So I'm going to remove this. Okay, so you can make use of your file section to save and open. If you want to save a new one, you can do that. Now, when you open your SQL server, you have something like a database, right? This is a database. We have some object like security, server object, replication. All these things, they are majorly managed by your database administrator. So that's why I say that you might not even do majority of the things here. The only thing that you will work on is probably to query. You understand? So when you open your database, you will see that I have created in my own here, I have some database that I have created, right? I have created some database. In our own now, we are going to create a new database from scratch. So we'll see how to create a new database. Now, when you create a database, like I said, a database contains what? Information that are related together, right? If I open my database now, you will see that if I open them and I open my table view, you will see that I have some information that they are related together. They are information that are related together. So in a database, you create your database. Your database is just like a folder. Please don't get confused. A database, when you hear database, it's just like a folder. Inside your folder, you are not putting what? You are not putting some information that they are related to that particular folder. That is exactly what a database in SQL means. It's like a folder, and in that folder that you have created, you are not putting information that are what? They are related in that folder. So that is what we are talking about. Now, so let's see how we can create a database. We want to create a database now. So now let's create a database. So who can suggest a database that we can create for us? Anybody? If you just suggest a name of database, you can drop a chat. Just suggest a database that you want us to create. Just drop the name and I'll pick it up. Any name that I first see. So let's drop a name. Student record. Okay. student record. Okay, student record. So student record is fine, but let's look at a a kind of name, because when you talk about student record, the student record has it's going to contain some other information as well. Yes, someone has suggested a very student management system. Something like, yeah, this one sound interesting. Yeah, this sound interesting. Okay, so now, so someone has suggested a student management system, right? Student management system. Okay, so now we're going to create a database. So let's call the database SMS. Should we call it SMS? I hope it will not confuse us. Yeah. So let's call it SMS. That's the shortening name for student management system, so that we'll not be writing a very long name. You understand? So let's say that we want to create a database called what? SMS, which is student management system. We want to manage our student record, right? So we're going to say create database. You can see that SQL is just like what? English is the language. You are not doing anything much, it's just English. Not understand English and understand how you can command SQL to do something for you, right? So we are going to say what? Create database, SMS. Now, if you put this like this, if you maybe in your own case, you want to write create SMS, you are not putting space in between, this thing is not going to run successfully. If let's try to run this. So let's try to run this. So can you see? I executed it. You can say what? Incorrect syntax near X. Now, when you are writing anything in SQL, you don't put a space. Please, you need to read these materials, right? If you go back to the rules and regulation, it's part of some of the things that I've mentioned here, but because of, you can see a space separates a clause. You understand? So you don't use a space sorry. I think I missed that point. So, but what I'm trying to say is that whenever you are writing a word in SQL Server, in SQL generally, you don't put a space. So these are what you can do. So let's look at the option, what you can do. You can put this in a what? In a square bracket. When you put it in a square bracket and you run it, it's going to execute successfully. You can also do something. You can put an underscore. You cannot use hyphen. Don't think you cannot use hyphen. Sorry. You can use an underscore. This will work. You can use an underscore. You can use an underscore, but you cannot use hyphen. Hyphen will not work. But you can use underscore. So you cannot use space. You cannot put a space in between them, in between your word. You cannot put space in between your word. But you can use underscore. You can use a square bracket. So whenever you are writing, that means that you must put it inside what? Inside the square bracket. You understand? So now let's use this underscore. Now, if you look at here, you see that we do not have anything SMS here. You can say that we do not have any database called SMS. So let's create this. So let's create. Now, can you see that we have created a command completed successfully? We have created this. Can you see? Now, let's refresh. So let's refresh. I'm going to refresh this. So let's refresh. Can you see this database that we just created now? SMS, which is our what? Student management system. Can you see SMS? The one that we just created now. Can you see? Now, if you open it and we go to our tables, now we will not see anything here. Can you see? We do not have anything because we have not put in any record in our database. Now, I said that database is like what? It's like a folder. Just see database as what? As a folder that is holding related information. That is just it. A folder that is what? Holding related information. So that is what our database is all about. So we have created a database. Now, please, for those using SQL Server for the very first time, please pay attention. If you are using SQL Server for the very first time, now we want to start creating record in our database, right? We want to start creating, because a lot of people will come and call me, please, something is happening. I cannot do this thing in SQL Server. It's not working. Let me tell you the secret. One of the reasons why it will not work is that, number one, the first thing is that you must indicate your database. So let me check if you have question. We have question. Is it just me or the voice is faster than the screen? Can't follow at all. Someone say my screen is lagging. Okay. Okay. So let's any question from anyone? Any question? Since that's any question, maybe I have to. Can you see my screen? Can you guys see my screen? Hello, can you guys see my screen? You can react if you can see my screen. Can thumb up if you can see my screen. Am I too fast? If I'm too fast, can you say yes, I'm too fast? If I'm too fast, can you say yes, I'm too fast? Let me get your feedback. If I'm too fast, can you type yes, I'm too fast?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, please go on.
Yeah, I'm trying to type, but I don't know why I cannot type. So I don't know if it is only me, but the screen and your voice is not in tandem at all. Like I feel like the screen is lagging while your voice, how will I explain it? Like some of the
Okay,
things that
I
you've
get
already
that.
said, some of the
Yeah.
things that you've already said, they are now coming behind. The screen is now showing it behind. So it's hard
Yeah,
for
it's
me to
not
Okay.
follow.
it's not only you. It's not only
Okay.
you.
Okay.
That's
I
what's
thought I was the
happening.
only one. Yeah.
No.
Okay. Okay. I think that would be network then. So please, if when you observe that, assuming that I didn't come here now, I won't even know that you guys are facing that issue. So, like I said, you can always call my attention. For those of us that their mic is not muted, please call my attention to it that my screen is not the same as what I'm displaying. What I'm saying is not the same as what I'm displaying. So let me stop sharing and I'll share again. Or let me try and see if I can change my network. I think maybe that will be better. Let me see. Let me see if I can change my network. Sorry, come now. Let me see if I want to try and change my network. Maybe that will be better. Yeah, sorry for that break. Sorry, guys. So can you hear me now? Let me be sure you can hear me now. Can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, sir, we can hear
Yes, sir, we
you.
can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I'll have to check my network. Okay, so please confirm you can see my screen, and please, if the screen is lagging, please let me know as well. So can you see my screen?
Yes,
Yes, sir, we
sir.
can see your screen.
Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so now I hope you guys saw when I created the database. When I created the database, I believe you all saw that. Now I will say something that when you create a database, please, when you want to start creating your database object, like you want to start creating your tables, you want to start creating your anything you want to create, the first thing that you need to do is to indicate the database. And how do you indicate the database? You have to use the use syntax. I'm going to say use what? Use SMS. which is our system management system, student management system, right? Use SMS, which is our what? Our database. If not, you will be getting errors. So you must identify the database you want to work with. Now, you can say that when I say use SMS, you will observe that this at the top left here, this place indicates that this is the database that we are using. Now, let me try to change it to something else. Let's just observe. Let's observe. So I'm going to say use what? Maybe market. If I say use maybe market and I execute, you will see that this thing has changed here. Please, whenever you are writing, you want to start creating your database object, make sure that you identify the database that you are working with. Please, it is very, very important. It is very, very important. So we have created our data. We created our what? Our database. Now we want to start creating the object in our database, right? So we want to start creating the object in our database. Okay, so we have identified the database that we want to use, which is the use SMS. And now let's start creating our database. So now we want to start creating. So let's start with create. We want to create. I think I need to go back before we start talking about this. So let's take a step back. Let's go back. So let's go back. So we talk about how to create a database, which we just did. We just created the database. So we talk about how to put in some other information into it later on. So now the next thing I will talk about is data types. What I say, data types. So what are data types? Data types are what? They are the formats to our data. Like what we have: the integer, the varchar, the date, the decimal, the boolean, the char, the character, right? Integer are what? They are like a whole number, right? When you are trying to, to create a database, you must identify the data types that you want to impute, you want to add to your data. You must identify what? You must identify your data type that you want to. Sorry. So you must what? You must identify your data type. So like I said, we have different data types like what? Integer, we have the varchar, the date, the decimal, the boolean, the char. All these are different data types. Please, let's try after this class, let's try to go and learn more about all these data types and know the differences between all these data types. We have integer. Integer can hold a whole number. Varchar can hold what is a string. What I mean by a string, like a text. And we have date. They can hold like a date. Decimal can hold a decimal number, decimal point. Boolean can hold like a true or false. Char can hold like a fixed length of numbers, right? A fixed length of number. Those are all the different type of data type that we have. So we need to go and learn more about data type. We have floats. We have blob. We have different data type. We have numeric. We have text. So you need to know the difference between text data type and char and varchar. We need to understand them. Or let me ask for some of us that have an experience, can anybody tell us the difference between char, varchar, and a text data type in SQL? Can anybody tell us? If you have an idea, can you signify, or you can raise your hand? Can we identify if you know the difference between char, varchar, and text? Can you raise your hand, or can you drop your comment if you know the differences between these three? And if you don't know, just say we don't know. So I'll just explain. Do we know the difference between the char, varchar, and text? Do we know? For some of us that have, we have done the classes before. If you have done the classes, you have done SQL classes before. Okay, don't know. Okay, so let me take it a little bit and explain what the difference is. It is. So when we talk about varchar, when you are identifying a data type as a varchar, you will identify the length, maybe like 150 word 200 words or 300 words, right? That is varchar. You identify the length of the text that you want to put inside. But when you talk about text is another data type on its own. Text means that there is no fixed number to what you can write. You can write a textbook. What did I say? A textbook, you can write it in your text data format. I hope we understand. When I'm saying format, I'm saying, okay, if you identify a text, a string as a data type as a varchar, you have to identify, okay, maybe 150 word or 30 word or 20 word or 50 words or character of words that will be there. But when you say text, a text does not have a limitation. That's why I said that you can write a whole textbook. You know how a whole textbook would be now, like almost 350 pages. You can put it in a text format. So that is text for you. Now, for char is like a fixed number, maybe very little number. It's fixed. When you say a char character is 1, the only thing that will enter that place is 1. If you say it is 2, the only thing that will enter that place is 2. So it's a fixed number. So those are the differences between all these data types. So data type is very, very essential in SQL. If you don't know, I know in Excel you don't take conscious of those things. In Power BI, most of us don't even know. You understand? But in SQL here, it's very, very important. So if you don't know data type before, please, it is essential that you know them in SQL. So without wasting much of our time, so let's proceed and create one. Let's try and create a table, and we'll see all these things that I explained, the data types. We'll see them in action. So now let's proceed and create a table. So we'll create a table now. So now we want to create a table. Don't forget that we are still talking about, when we talk about create, which of the command are we talking about? When we talk about create, we know everything that we're still talking about is creating. Which of the command are we talking about? Text is large, variable length string. Yeah, okay, yeah. So when we talk about create, which under command are we talking about? Which command are we still talking about? We talk about create. Which command are we talking about? DDL, yeah, thank you, Ayomide. Yes, DDL, which is data definition language. Yes, so I want you guys to, yes, very good. I want you guys to have a better understanding of those commands so that when they wake you up and someone say, what is data definition language? You will know that they are talking about DDL. Okay, so now we want to create a table. So we are saying, we say create table. You can say that when we want to create a database, we say what? Create database. Now, I'm now saying what? Create table. Now, what table are we creating? Let's say we want to create a table called student record. Students. We are creating a table called students, right? We are creating a table called students. Now, when you want to create a table called students, you must tell us how the structure of the table is going to be. Hello? We must identify what? The structure of the table. Now, what do we mean by structure? So what I'm saying is that we must identify that, okay, we want to have what? A full name, right? Full name, right? Now, this full name that is here, I must identify the data types. Don't forget that we just talked about data types. That's why I have to explain data type before I come here. You must give your structure a data type. It is compulsory in SQL. That I say that if you don't know data type in SQL before, in Excel, in Power BI, if you don't know them in SQL, it is very, very important because all these things, they are in Excel, they are in Power BI as well. But in SQL, it is an obvious thing that you cannot skip. You can skip them in Power BI. Power BI can overlook it for you. But in SQL, you cannot skip them. So you must identify. So let's say varchar. So let's say this is a varchar now. I want to say 150. So what am I saying? 150 is what? I'm saying that any name that is going to enter this space must not be what? Must not be more than 150. I don't think there's any name that is long that will be more than 150. Because I don't know which name, even if you have a compound name, please just summarize it. Maybe just put your first name and last name is enough, right? So any name that I want to identify should not be more than 150. I have identified. You can increase it. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be 150. It can be 100. You can make it 100, right? But what we are trying to say here is that if the length of the word is more than 100, this thing will not accept it. That is what is saying is telling us. It will not accept it, right? So let's say 100. Now we want to say email address. Email address. So email address is also what is a varying character. So when we talk about varying character, it means that the value can change. It can change from a text to a number. That is what we mean by varying character. Varying character, like it can change from a text to a number. You understand? So that's what a varying character means. So now let's say a varying character here as well. So let's use varchar here as well. Varchar. So let's say 150 here. So let's say 150 here. Now, full name, email address, what is the gender of the students. So let's say we are going to use child here. So let's use a child character here. So this child, I'm going to put 1. So can you see that I've put a fixed number here? This means that no character can be more than 1 here. Cannot be more than 1. So I like my work to be itemized. It doesn't matter, please. This does not matter. You can leave it in a long line, but just to be clear of what I'm writing, that's why I want to put it here. So let's say DOB. DOB is what? Date of birth. So I will say date. So let me put a comma here. DOB is what? Date of birth. What else can we put here? Let's say I want to put something like, okay, let's say age. This is an integer, right? So let's put a comma. So let's just work with this for now. Let's work with this. Now, can you see? I'm creating a table called students. Now, full name, email address, gender, DOB, age, and all. This is the structure. So when someone says structure of a database, of a table, this is what the person meant by structure. We have created the structure. So let's create it. I'm going to say execute. Now I've executed this. Now let's try to see what we create. So let's see what we create now. It says select all from students. So let's see what we create. So can you see? Full name, email address, gender, DOB, age. This is our structure. We have created a structure for our table, right? We have created what? A structure for our table. Now, let's try to input a record into our table. Now, if I want to input a record into our table, who can tell me which function are we going to use and under which command is it going to fall under? Now, I want to insert a record, full name. I want to put maybe Shola, email, shola@gmail.com, gender, I want to. So can someone tell me the function or the clause that I'm going to use and tell me under which of the 4 commands that I mentioned earlier that is going to fall under? Can anybody tell us? Can anyone tell us? Insert, okay, data manipulation, okay, yeah, you guys are following.
Insert
What is it? Yeah, you guys are following. What is the formula? Varying character, variable character, like it can change for the person that has for that. Okay, so let's move on. Yeah, I have an answer. So someone said insert. So yeah, you are right. We are going to use the insert statement, which is under the data manipulation. So I'm going to say insert. Insert what? Insert into where? Into the student table that we created. Insert into student. Now, for me to insert, we need to use the values, this clause values, to insert into the table. So you can identify all these columns. You can identify them here, and you might not need necessary to identify them. So let's assume that you only want to insert into full name, email address, and gender. You don't want to insert anything into the DOB and age. Then you have to identify it here. But if you are imputing all this record, like everything you want to identify is everything, then you might not necessarily need to identify the the columns name, right? The columns header. You might not need to identify them. So let's insert one record. So let's say full name. So whenever you are you want to write a string, like a text, right? You must put it inside what? A quotation. So we are going to write a quotation. Here, quotation is not double. It's a single quotation here. It's a single word, it's a single quotation. I know in Excel and Power BI, it is double quotation, but here it is what? It's a single quotation. So let's say Shola Allison. So Shola Allison, let's say email address, Shola Allison at example.com. At example.com. You know, like I said, you have to put it into quotation, else it's going to run an error for you. Now, gender is what? So let's say gender is what? Is male, right? Let's say Shola Addison is a male. Now, let's say DOB is what? Let's say 2024 05 13, right? So let's say age is what? No, the date of birth cannot be 2024. No. Okay. So let's say 2002. Let's say 2000. Okay, and let's say the age is what? Let's say 23. Now, okay, that's fine. So let's put it like this. Okay. Now you can say that I did not put 23 in a quotation. Why? Because if it is an integer, you don't need to put an integer in a quotation, or a decimal. You don't need to put decimal integer in a quotation. But anything else that is not an integer, you have to put that into, even dates. You have to put a date into a quotation. Now let's run this query. Let's run it. Execute. Now we have an error. Can anybody tell me why we are having error? We have an error. Can
Because
anybody
there's
tell
a
me?
space.
Someone said there's a space. Can anybody tell me why? That is not the reason. That's not the reason. Can anybody tell me why we are having an error? We have an error. Can you see that it is not successful? So can anybody tell me why we have an error? Someone hand is up. The gender. Okay, what happened to the gender? Okay, go on.
Good morning,
Please.
good
Good
morning.
morning, sir. Good
I
morning.
also want to add the gender. Since we use a char of 1, why are we now writing character MBLE instead of just M?
Oh, okay, yeah, that's good. So yeah, you guys are paying attention. Gender was not stated because you quoted the date area, gender. Okay. You guys are okay, yeah, you guys are following. Now, the reason why we have an error. No, I want someone to tell me the reason very well. I've not gotten it. I don't think I've gotten an answer very well. Number of columns does not correlate. No, gender was not stated. Gender. So what happened to the gender? What happened to? Can someone just explain? I want someone to explain. What happened to the gender? What happened to the gender?
What I think happened to the gender is that we're supposed to just be a single character, not more than
God
a
bless
character.
you. God bless you. Yes. Anyway, so you guys are just saying gender. You did not identify, you did not tell what the gender is, the problem with the gender is about. You understand? God bless you. Yeah. The right answer is that I intentionally put it like that so that we will see the error. You can even see here. The error said that was string or binary data will be truncated in table. You know, this is the database. Can you see? Database is telling us that this is the what? This is the table name, and this is what? This is what schema. I hope maybe in the next class I will talk about schemas for you. I will show you what a schema is. Then you can see column gender truncated value M. Can you see? Is telling us that the what we have there, the character we have here is more than what is expected. What we identify here is what is just one character. So if you put two characters here, it will not accept it. That's what it's telling us. You understand? So let's even say The person is a female. Shola Allison is a female, right? Let's say it's a female. Now let's try to run it. This will run successful now. So let's put it. Can you see? One row affected. Now let's run this. So can you see? Can you see? So the problem is that's why I said that what data type is very, very essential. Data type is what? See, if you don't know data type in Excel or Power BI, please, this is the time that you need to take data type very serious. Go and learn data type. If not, you'll be having issues whenever you're writing queries. You understand? So please, let's pay attention to that. So now you can say that we have inserted our record, we have created a table, we have, so those are, so let's try to add one or two more record. So let's try to add one or two more record. So let's try to add to record. So let's say this is David Mark. Let's say David Mark at example.com. David Mark is a male. Let's say David Mark is born in 1964. I'll just put a random age. Let's say 67. Just put a random age like that. So now I will have to remove this one, or let me comment this one out. So in SQL, we have something called comments. So what is comment? Comment is that I don't want this particular line of code to run. I don't want this particular one to run. I only want to run it because if I should run this one together, it's going to give me a duplicate information. That means that Shola Allison will be duplicate, and I don't want it to be duplicate. So you can comment, you can put double dash to comment it out. Can you see? I've commented this one out. Now let me try to run this now. So let me try to run this. So can you see one row affected? Now let's run our select statement. So can you see now that we have two records? Can you see David Mark, Shola Allison, female, male? You can see that we have two records. You can see. So you can see. Now let's talk about how we can maybe something like how to modify. So let's say how we can modify. Like what I mean by modify is that, okay, let's assume that you want to add a new column here. You want to add a new column. How do you add a new column? You can tell me the statement or command, that we can use to add a new column. You can tell me. You can tell us, from those of us that know SQL before, from number of column. Let me start up here. Okay. May should be okay, yeah. So you can tell us, okay, can go on, Daniel. I think your mic is on.
Okay. You use alter, you alter the table, then you add.
We alter the table. Yeah, God bless you. So yeah, we alter the table, then we add. So now for our beginners, for people that are just learning, so we talk about data definition language, and under the data definition language, we mention create, we mention alter, we mention truncate, we mention drop. So now let's assume that you have created a structure. Now you want to, maybe you made a mistake when you started creating it. You forgot to add a column. You did not add a column. Maybe you did not add. Maybe we want to add a column called let's say address. You understand? Let's say you want to add a column called home address, and you have already created the table. Now you feel, how would I go back? Will I start all this thing all over again? Don't worry yourself. There's a function that can do that for you. So we'll just alter the table. We'll alter it. So now let's say alter the table. So let's say alter what? Table. So which table are we altering? So we want to alter the student table.
Yes, please.
Someone mic is on. Okay. So now we want to alter the table, which is what? The student table. Now I'm not going to say what? Add what? Add column. I'm not sure whether we are going to state the column. I think in Postgres, yes. So these are the difference that you might encounter. So for someone that say Postgres, SQL Server, MySQL, What is the difference? Now, these are the difference. In SQL Server, I'm not sure we are going to say add column, but in Postgres, you will say add column there. So those are the little differences that you will see in those RDBMS. But it does not mean that it's not the same SQL. You understand? It's just like the way you will speak English. Someone will correct you, maybe in your own Nigeria here, the English is correct. If you go to British or UK, they will tell you that what you said is not correct. It's another way around. You understand? So that is just what you are trying to say. So here, I'm not sure you will write add column. We just put the column name. Let's say add address, address, let's say address name. So address name. Now, address name, you must identify the data type, right? So let's say varchar. So let's say the address can be 200, no, address can be long sometimes. So now let's say address. So now let's try to create it. Now, if you write this thing in Postgres, it might be wrong. Why? Because you must put a colon, you must say add colon in Postgres. It does not mean that you can even say that here too, the column is being highlighted in blue. But here, SQL Server does not recognize it. That is why. And the reason is because, let me tell you the reason. You see all these people, normally, it's supposed to be the same thing. SQL is supposed to be the same across all the RDBMS. But one thing is that SQL Server is owned by Microsoft. Postgres is owned by Oracle, or I don't know the brand, the company that owns them, right? Different company. Now, everybody will feel like, why are we replicating each other? If there is nothing tangible that is different between Postgres and SQL Server, now, how will people differentiate us? So that is why you see SQL Server, they will not do what Postgres, they will want to do something that Postgres does not have. They will put it inside their own. Postgres will say, no, SQL Server has this thing. We don't want it to be the same thing, so that people will say, oh, this one is more better. You understand? So that is the reason why you see that all these things, they are there, because number one, it is competition. Everybody is doing competition. You understand? So it now depends on you, the learner, that don't stress yourself. Focus on one. Once you know one, you can transfer the knowledge to any of the other BMS. It's just a little differences. You understand? So now let's create this one. So let's say add. Now, can you see it is complete? Like I said, in Postgres, it might be error for you. So you just have to figure out how to do it there. Now, let's write select all from students. So you can say now that we have what? Address name. But in our address name, you can see that we do not have any information here. It is null. It is null. Now, I want to now update. Don't forget that I said our SQL function is what? Is to create. We have created this thing now. Now, we now want to update our record. You understand? Now, can anybody tell me the function and the command that we're going to use to update this record? So which functions and command are we going to use to update our record? Which functions and command are we going to use to update our record? Anybody? Anyone? Who is going to? Please, I hope you guys can still hear me. I hope you can hear me. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you guys. Okay, so yeah, I think I got my answers. People are saying update and DML, which is data manipulation language, and that is actually correct. Okay, so now let's see how we can update this table. Now, let's say Shola Allison is living in the UK, so let's just say David Mark is also in one country like that. So let's update their address name. Just put address. So let's say update. So we say update. Update what? Student. So we are going to update students here. So here we will not say update table student again. No, we will not say that. We will just say update what? Update student. So we say update student. Now we will not say set what? Set address name. So set address name equals to what? I will say set address name equals to, let's say, 10 AB, I will 10B, Allison Street, streets, Yaba, Lagos. Let's say Yaba, Lagos. Right? So let's just say that is the address. Eh? So now I'm not going to say where, let's say where full name equals to Shola Alison. Now, this is not the proper way of doing this thing. It's just because of the example. Normally, we're supposed to have like an ID, like a unique identification. Maybe in our next class, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about data integrity. So we'll talk about that tomorrow in our class tomorrow. So now we are going to update this student. Set address name equals to this address where full name equals to what? Shola Allison, which is this person. Now let's run this and see. So can you see one rule affected? Yeah, please go on.
Your address name is small letter A. Would that still work?
It doesn't matter. Yes, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The address does not matter. Yeah, but the case. So SQL Server is not case sensitive. Some RDBMS like MySQL. So like I said, these are the different things that you will see in other RDBMS. In MySQL is case sensitive, but in SQL Server here, it is not case sensitive. So I hope I've answered your question. So you can see now that we have added the email address. We have updated our email address. Can you see? We updated the email. So let's update the email address of David Mark as well. So let's update the email address of David Mark. So let's say David Mark is living at 20C. Let's say Mark Road. Let's see. So just put a random thing here. So now this is where it's saying. Now let's put the name where the name is equal to what? David Mark. So now let's update this as well. So let's update it. So can you see one role affected? And so can you see? So we have updated their email address. And initially that these places are not, they don't exist before. The information here does not exist. I think that we have updated. So this is how you can create database. You can, you can update your database. You can insert, you can update. In our next class, we'll talk more about how we can, do more of updates, data manipulation. We'll talk about those things hopefully tomorrow. So we'll talk about those things tomorrow. Now, let me check our slide. I hope I'll be able to cover all the things that we want to do today. Let me check. Okay, we have been sat. Okay. Okay, so let me go to the next slide. Okay, alter, rename. Okay, how you can rename, add the column. Okay, I think we have talked about that. Okay, so let me just copy this. So let's see how we can rename. Okay, I think we have talked about that. So let's see how we can rename. So now let's say that you want to rename, right? You want to rename. So let's say you want to rename. Maybe your students, you want to rename, or you want to rename a particular column name, right? So now let's say that you want to rename your table name, right? Maybe from student to student record or student table, or you want to do something. So you can use this syntax XSP rename. You can use it to rename. So now let's say that you want to, before we can say select all from students, and we'll run this. Maybe the name is not what you want to write. Maybe you just want to name it as student record. That's what you want to. So let's say this one. So old name is what? So our old name is what? Just change it as what? Our old name is what? Student. Then our new name is what? Student. So let's say our new name is what? Student record. So our new name is what? Student record. So now let's execute this. So can you see it has changed? Now let's run the select all from students. Can you see that this one is no longer working again? Can you see that it's no longer working again? Now, let me say student underscore records. So let's see. So can you see? Now, you can use this to rename. You can see, you can rename a table name. You can rename your table name. So you can see, you can rename. So you can use this syntax or this script, this command to rename a table name. You can use it to also rename a database name as well. You can use it to rename a database name as well. So you can use it to rename a database name as well. Any question so far? Any question? Any question? Any question? Alberto, yeah, you can go on. Capital letter A for address. Well, it's not case sensitive. SQL Server is not case sensitive. Faith, okay. Yeah, I think I have some. Faith, you
Okay.
can talk. Okay.
All right. All
Faith,
right.
go on, please.
Thank you for. Uh, I noticed something. Whenever you are trying to run each of these command, you have to highlight that particular one before you execute. Does that mean that not highlighting it will actually run everything on the query, or it's when we highlight that we can only run that particular one? I don't know if you get my question.
Sorry, please come again. Sorry, I didn't
Right.
get
I
that
said
very well.
I noticed that whenever we try to run a particular line of command, you have to highlight before clicking on execute. So what happens if you don't highlight? Does it mean everything on the query will have to be executed? I don't know.
Yes, exactly. Everything will have to be executed and it might show an error. So the only thing you can do, right, is to comment them out. You understand? So let's say that I want to do select all from student record now, right? If I do not highlight it now and I just say execute, can you see? It's going to throw an error for me. So what I can do is that I can comment everything from here. So let me do something. I can comment everything. Let me see. This is command. So I can comment everything out. So let me comment everything out. So this is should be like this. So now, if I did not highlight this thing now, because I have comment everything up here. If I did not highlight it and I just execute, if I click execute, can you see that it's returned successful for? But if I did not comment all this thing out before, it's not going to run successfully. It's going to be bringing error for me. So that's why you see that most of the time I have to highlight them. So, but if you comment them out, then you don't need to highlight it. If you just click on execute, it will run successfully. Is that fine?
Yes, thank you.
Hello. Okay. Ifeoluwa. Faith. I think Faith has her hand up before. Please
Yes.
go on. Okay, Faith, go on, please.
Okay, thank you, sir. I know this question may sound funny, but I just want to know why can't we just edit the, let me say, code that we had written before instead of writing updates and then changing it, like adding the address part now that wasn't written there. Why can't we just go back to where we wrote the tables or the columns before and then just add it there like that?
Okay. So this is SQL. You understand? So they need to say the way they used to do it here. You have to do. I don't know the adage. There's an adage that you have to do it the way they do it. Do you understand? So this is SQL. This is not Power BI or Excel that you can easily go to the table and go and do some editing on the table format and change it. You understand? So this is SQL. And yes, what you said, I think when it comes to renaming, I think some database like Postgres, even in Postgres, you can easily change the name headers here. Like maybe the name is not how you want it to be spelled or name. You can rename it. Sorry. Sorry. Okay, so like I'm saying, in some in some database, right? You might be able to do some certain things like that. I think even in SQL Server, if you come here, so let's go to let's refresh. I think you can rename, but when it comes to adding a new column, that one is not possible. You have to use the alter statement. So that's how SQL is different from Excel. You understand? So you have to write the statement. So let me check something here. Columns. I think there is a way you can, but most of the time I prefer to use this. It's even better for you. See, Faith, don't let us stress ourselves. You just learn the syntax. Don't go and learn shortcuts too. Because if you start with shortcuts, if you go to another how DBM is, and you do not know how to do it. If you know how to do it successfully here, like how to manipulate it, using shortcut. If you go to another RDBMS and you don't know how to do it, you will be finding it difficult to, you understand? So it's better for you to learn the syntax, and instead of finding a the easiest route to go about it, you understand? So let's just focus on learning the syntax. Then if you now maybe your RDBMS, you can easily tweak things there. It's fine, you get. But for the sake of learning, let's just learn how to use a syntax to create it. I hope that is fine.
Yes,
I
sir.
hope that is fine. All right. Okay, Ife, please go on. Ife. Then we'll answer Daniel.
Yes.
Then we'll see one or two things we can do before we move on. Okay, Ife, please go on.
Good morning again, sir. I just want to ask, I don't know if you can go back to the SQL server, the student record. If yes, sir. So when we added the address name, is it possible to like change it like the column where it will be like after full name, email address, then the address comes in? Like, is there a way to add it and then it falls in between the email and the gender? That's a count.
Okay. I understand what you want to do now. What you want to do is that you want in your so see if what we just did here, is just a select. You understand? I only say select everything. So if I said okay, now if I say select address, so let's say select, or let me say okay, select full name, just like what you said. Let's say select full name, comma, select address name, select address name, comma. Now let me say select gender. So you can specify what you want to select. So let's just say select all this one alone. Okay, so let's just do this one alone. Select full name, address name, gender from student record. Okay, why is it highlighting this in your phone? So hold on, let me check something here. Okay, so if now can you see that you can in your select query, you can either if you want it to be arranged anyway you want, anyhow you want it to be arranged, you can arrange it. You can arrange it like that. So if you want full name to come first, address name to come second, gender, you can even say that I did not even identify some columns. I didn't pick some columns self. So you can decide to pick the column you want to see yourself. You can even decide to pick the rows you want to see. Let me say where full name equals to David Mark. So where full name equals to David Mark. You can even select the rows that you want as well. Right? Can you see? You can decide to select the rows that you want. You can choose to. Do you understand? Ife, are you clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. So
Yes, sir.
the arrangement is not it's just because I say select all. So you can decide to okay, you want it to come before or after or anyhow you want. You might even decide not to select everything. You can decide to select the one that you want. Okay, I think that is clear. Any other question? I think you seems that you still want to ask something else. Okay, Daniel, let's move on. Daniel.
Okay, sir. I have a question. Please,
Please go.
please, can you go back to the query, please? Ahem.
Okay.
Thank you. During your insert, when you were inserting the values, you said that if we are going to insert everything, like insert all the, what do they call it? Hmm, the full name and everything, there's no need for us to state it back, like the full name, the
Okay.
email. There's no need for us to state it during
Okay.
insert if we are going to insert
Yeah.
everything.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
my question is, what if we want to insert somebody's data and one of the data is not available and others are available? How are you going to do it?
Okay. I think I understand what you're saying. Understand what you're saying. So
And
let's
the
let's
other
let's
question
let's
is,
let's do that. Okay. Go on. Go on.
okay, and the other question is, if we are now having unique identifiers, and then I
Yeah.
think unique identifiers don't normally be empty. So how can you set unique identifiers to be required? If there is no unique
Okay.
identifier, then there should be an error. How are you going to do that too?
Okay, yeah, I think I like your question. You ask a very intelligent question. And the reason why I said that is because our next class or our next topic, yeah, is actually going to solve your 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 concerns, right? You know what you said. The next topic that we are going to talk about, that is data constraints or data integrity. So we'll talk about. Well, I'm not sure we'll be able to cover that today, but by God's grace, tomorrow we'll talk about data constraint. Talk about different type of constraints, the not, no, primary keys, and all. So we'll talk about. So let's not dive into that today. So by the time we talk about the topics tomorrow, right, you will have a better understanding of, how, okay, the errors that is going to throw when you have a null value or all this kind of stuff. So we'll talk about data constraint and data validation tomorrow. So that we don't want to do too much information overload today. So let's just focus on what we have, let's just try to maintain what we have done today. Okay, so now back to your first question. I hope that is fine. Tomorrow, please just make sure that you join
Yes, sir.
tomorrow's section. You understand? So that
Yes, sir.
your query will be. So please, this is 12 o'clock. And I promise you that I will take back my time. I'm still within time. Oh. So we started 10:20. I remember. So I still have 20 minutes more. So we still have quiz. So I'm still within my time. So I said I'm going to take back my time. So please, I'm not overusing my time today. It's just that we started the class late. So that's why. Okay, so back to your question, right? Back to your question. So okay, so now if you just want to add full name, address name, and gender, right? We don't want to add some other information. Is that what you're saying? And the person that has the last question. Please, can you
Yes,
can you
sir.
confirm?
Yes, sir. That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying, okay, when you have all the data for a particular person complete and the others are not complete.
Complete, okay.
Yes.
Okay. So what you are saying now is that you want to, okay, let me do select all and do select all from central. Okay, okay, the way we have it now. Now let's assume that we want to input another record. The person does not have age and address name, right? Is
And
that what you're saying?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
okay. So to insert that record. Okay, so let me show you how to do that. So now for you to insert that record, you have to specify the header columns. You have to specify the header column. So now let's say full name, comma, email address. Like I said, it doesn't matter whether it is capital letter or not, email address. So let's say gender, and let's say, okay, let's just stop here. Let's just stop it. Now I want to insert a record, right? So I'll say values. So now full name is what? Let's say let's say Adeniji Feolua. Right. Okay, so let's say gender is she's a female. Oh, sorry, email address. So let's say so make sure that you put a comma. Anytime you're writing any statement, you must put a comma. So if you look Adeniji Feolua at example.com, then gender is what? So let's say the gender is female. So female. Okay, this is just the record that we want, right? Even if we decide to put other information, it's going to throw an error because we did not specify it in our headers here. We did not specify it. So let's try to run this. Okay, student record has changed to, so we have changed the student to student record. So let's contribute. So let's change this. Yeah. So let's insert now. Invalid column name, email address. What happened? The spelling not correct. So you also need to check your spelling. Oh, the spelling is not correct. I put double L here. I think I made a mistake when I'm creating this. Okay, so can you see now one role affected? So let's try to run this. Let's try to run it. So can you see now the person that has the last question? Can you see that every other information here they are what? They are null. So you can see that they are null. Can you see? They are null. But don't worry, tomorrow we'll talk about how you can do data integrity or data validation that you don't accept nulls, so that everybody that want to fill information, they must put in all the necessary information. So you cannot say that, you say that most of the time when we set a quiz for you guys, we will always make it required that if you do not fill this form, you cannot go to the next question. You understand? So we can also do the same thing here in SQL. So we call it data validation or data constraint or data integrity. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. So there's one more thing that I want to also show us, so that before we do our task, our quiz today, please, because time is going and a lot of you guys will start going now. How do you correct the colon spelling? Okay, you can correct the colon spelling by you can rename it. You can rename the column. So I'm coming. So let me try and get. I'm coming. Let me try and get. Please, I want you guys to feel. Because this is the only time that you guys always respond to us after the live session like this. Any other thing that we put on. Discord, you guys doesn't listen. You don't check it again. So this is the only time that we can talk to you, please. So let's make sure that we fill this form. It is very, very important for us to fill this form. Please, if you have not filled the form, please help us to fill this form. I'm going to send the link of the form. What is the problem? So please help us to fill this form about the advanced class. Please let's ensure that we fill the form. Let's ensure that we fill the form. Okay, so one more thing before we go. Let's do one more thing before we go. So now, what if you have the data that the data is much and you don't want to be inserting record one after the other, right? You don't want to be inserting. How can you do that? We have two ways you can do that. I'm going to show you the two ways. I'll show you the two ways. So let's first use a syntax to do that. So I have a data. Let me show you the data. Clause 5 material session. So let's use this material. So let's say Okay, let me just use any of this table. So let me use any. So I have this table, right? I don't want to be writing, insert, one after the other, insert all the records. I have a table that maybe the data is very long and all. So now I want to create, so I'm going to create, so I'm going to show you how to insert this table using a syntax, and I'll also use to show you another method that we can do. So I'm going to use the bulk insert. You understand? So I'm going to show you how to use the bulk insert. So I will say bulk insert. So we want to use the bulk insert. So, sorry, before we do bulk insert, we need to first create the table first. So we say create table, call what? We want to call it product table. Products, right? So now, what are the table name? Table value is product ID is an integer. Product name is a varchar. Varchar, let's say 50. Then price is what? Our price, is it decimal or integer? Okay, it's a decimal. So let's use decimal here. So our price is decimal. So decimal. Okay. Product name. Okay. So now let's create this table. So we are creating this table. So can you see I've created the table? So let me say select all from products. Select all from products. So can you see I've created the table. Now I want to insert into this table now. Now I'm not going to use the insert statement. I don't want to use the insert statement. I want to use something else. So I'm going to use what? Bulk insert. I will use the bulk insert statement. I'll say bulk insert into what? Into the product table. See, to the product. Bulk insert, bulk insert product. Now I will now say from. So from where am I copying this data from? My data source. My data source is from my folder here, which is this particular folder. So I'm going to right click. So I'm going to right click here. Sorry. This is not. Save. Okay, so I'm going to right click, then I'll go to properties. Please, I hope I'm still audible. Please, can you confirm I'm still audible?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Okay, so let me cancel this. What I just did here is what I right click. After right clicking, I click on properties. Then I'm going to copy this location. Can you see location? I'll copy the location here. Copy the location. Then I'll come back to this place, bulk insert product. Then I will put this location here. You can see that the location is very long. Why? It's because I have different folders. This is a folder. This is another folder. This is another folder. This is another folder. So your one might not be as long as this one. You understand? It might not be as long as this one. So don't worry. My one is just long because I have a folder inside another folder, inside another folder. Sorry, someone is trying to say something. Okay, so if you are not talking, can you mute your mic? If you please mute your mic. Okay, thank you. Okay, so now you can see now this is our location, my location. Then I'm going to put what is the name of the file. So this is the name of the file, products. Can you see products? So I'm going to put the name of the file here. I will now say .csv. .csv. So .csv. So .csv, can you see .csv? Now I'm not going to say with, then open the brackets. So I'll say row terminator row terminator, equals to, put this into a quotation. The next one is field terminator. Field terminator. So our field terminator is field terminator. Then our let's say first row equals to 2 equals to 3. So now what we are just saying here is that, we want to import a CSV file, right? So we are using the bulk insert into the product table. We created a product, a table called what? Called product. Now, from which location? The location is from our local device, right? From our local device. Then row terminator is just, CSV is what? Is a comma delimited something, is a comma. So we use comma to identify it. So you can see the comma, filter. These are just the normal way a CSV file is. So don't bother yourself with all this one. It is just the normal way it is. So then field terminator equals to, so this is the field terminator. The first row. First row means that where does the data start from? You understand? So data start from where? From the second row. So let's see. So let me show you. So the data starts from where? From the second row. Can you see? This is just the ID. This is just the what? This is just the header. Data start from what? Second row. So that's why we put 2 here. So that's why we put what? That's why we put 2 here. So that's just that. So let me cancel this, because if I did not cancel it, it will throw an error. So now let's try to run this. So let's try to run it. So let's try to run it. Execute. What is this saying? Say if I for blah blah. Okay. Sometimes it might have run successfully and it will be writing this. So let's check, because it might have run successfully. Let's check. It didn't run successfully. What is it saying? Let me check the error again. Workload, data conversion error type, invalid. For row 2, column 1, field.id. So it's saying that invalid character for the specified code row 2. So let's check the data. Let's check. So let's check what could be the issue. I really do not know what the issue is. But it's saying that the data type is not correct. Character. We use integer here now. So why is it running? Okay. So let me what I will just do is that let me see. Let me copy this data. Sometimes it can be so funny. So let me copy it here. And let me change the data type to I want to use number. So let's use number first. Then okay. So let's do this first. Let me delete this one. So let's delete this one. Delete. So let's save this one. If you still throw an error, then let's see. Let's try and run it again. Still throwing an error. I really do not know why this thing is always. Let me try and execute it. Okay, so let's not waste much of our time. I don't know why it's showing an error here, but maybe tomorrow I'll figure out why it's showing an error and I'll get back to us. Okay, so I don't want to, because of time is fast going. So let me quickly show us the other way around. We can insert the data. This one, please remind me tomorrow. I will take a look at what the issue is and I'll figure it out before tomorrow class. So another way you can also import your data, maybe you have a data already, is that you can, on your database that you created, this database. So let's right click. Now you go to your tags, go to import flat file. So you can expand this, go to next, browse. So let's go to Datakliq, Cohort 5, SQL section, data manipulation. Let's import this other table. So let's import it. Okay. So now you can, please, can you guys still hear me? Please, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so please, okay, all right. So please, whenever you are importing into SQL Server, the data must be a CSV file. If you cannot import an Excel file, please. I don't know, it might be possible, but as at now, the only file that I know that you can insert using this method is the CSV file. Please, you must convert your data to a CSV file. So now let's click on next. So you can see, you can click on next. So the other time I was talking about data type. So if you come here, you see that we have different data type. So you can, all this one now, you can change your data type maybe to like an integer. You can change the data type to you can see the different data type that we have in SQL. So you can go and do more, learning on them. So let's change all this to integer. You can change the data type, quantity. You can change the data type the way you want it. So integer. Okay, so now let's click on next. Finish. So can you see? So we have inserted this data. Now let's do select all from others. This is the table that we just insert now. So let's see. So can you see the table that we just inserted now? So let's refresh. So we'll see the table here. So let's check the table. So can you see others table? This product table, we created it, but I don't know why the bulk insert is not working. Well, like I said, I will check it tomorrow so that I don't want to exceed our time. This is 12:20, so I don't want to exceed our time. So if you have any question, we are done for today's class. We'll look at this one tomorrow. If you have any question, please drop then. Please, before you go, let me get us our quiz. We need to attend to this quiz. Okay. Hi, Busola, are you there? Hello, Busola. Busola, are you there? Busola, I don't know whether you are here or not. Okay. Okay. If you have question, please drop your question. I'm going to drop today's quiz now. So let's try to attempt to this quiz as well. So I will drop the quiz now and let's try to attempt it. If you have question, please go on and ask your question where you not clear. You are not clear. So please, let's attempt to this quiz. I've dropped the link. So let's attempt to this quiz. I'll drop it on the Discord channel too for us. So let's attempt to this quiz as well. So let's attempt to this quiz. I've dropped the quiz for us. Please, if you can see the quiz link, kindly say yes. Kindly say yes if you can see the quiz link. Kindly say yes, you can see the quiz link. Sorry, sir. I thought maybe you should quote the two. No. The quote is not the problem. The quote is not the problem. I think the data is the, yeah, thank you for that suggestion. The quote is not the problem. The quote is not the problem. So please, if you can see the
That's fine.
quiz link, kindly let's. Okay, someone is trying to say something. This one.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
I don't
Mr.
know. Yeah.
Folonsha.
Okay, go on, please. Please go
Okay,
on.
the issue, what I want to get clear is that when you were trying to run a particular command the other time and it was not going through, something came into my head that in the situations like that where we have to specify our data type, maybe an integer and a decimal. Sometimes we can have integers in between decimal. Does not mean that that integer in between decimal still act as a decimal.
Sorry, come again.
Okay, I said that the command you were trying to run the other time that we were having issues with concerning the errors we encountered.
Yes.
I'm saying that I know that we
Yes.
have some decimal and then some integers, and we specified data to be decimal. Would that be an issue with specifying data type when we have the integers and
Yes.
decimal on the same?
Yes. Yeah. So now what me I'm thinking is that, so you know that when you, so in Excel, you can be seeing a value as 1, 2, 3. You know, in your own head, it will be like, this is an integer, but it might not be an integer. Maybe there is a space in between those lines. There might be a space. You know, space 2 is a form of character. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there might be a space in between the lines, or maybe there is something that has happened within. So I need to go and cross-check that data to be sure that, that particular data type is correct. You understand? Maybe I will need to go and use like a trim or a clean function to go and clean that particular line. Do you understand? So it's possible. It's possible. Yeah, it's very possible. I don't know whether I've answered your question, or maybe that clarify what you're asking.
Yes, you have answered my
Okay.
question. Thank you, sir.
All right. All right. Please, if you have any other question, please please, I've dropped the quiz. Let's ensure that we fill the quiz. I think there's an attendance. Please, I hope you guys have filled the attendance. It's very, very important to us as well. It's important that you fill the attendance. It's important that you fill the attendance as well. So, okay. So, any question? If you have question on our SQL class today, please ask your question. Raise your hand. If you have question, please raise your hand or drop them in the comment section. If you have any question, please drop them. Okay. I think what is the problem here? I don't know. Someone is trying to send a message. Okay, someone is trying to create something. Say, what is the problem? Create table, full name, gender, create a full create full name, voucher, 100, email address, gender, date, integer. Line 4, incorrect syntax near full name. What could be the issue? Trying to check. Trying to check what could be the issue there. Actually, I cannot identify the issue that you're having. I can't identify any issue there. It's a student, email address, voucher. Sorry, can you share your screen, Mark? Let me try now. Can you put your hand up? Maybe you can share your screen. Today's class has ended. Sorry, everyone. So let me stop recording so that it's not to be unnecessarily long.